You ever found something that you used to just hold close to you as a kid, something that was the coolest thing ever, it just shined to you. You couldn't live life without it. And then you find it as an adult and it's just not as cool anymore. The shine has gone away and you're just kind of left thinking, why was this so important to me? Well, Raging Justice for the Nintendo Switch kind of gives me a similar feeling. It's just some of the coolness has been lost, and unfortunately for this game, time has kind of caught up with this genre. Now, I'm definitely not saying this is a bad game. Raging Justice accomplishes what it's set out to do, paying homage to the beat-em-ups of old, the Turtles in Time, the Final Fights, and the Double Dragons. And for the most part, it actually does a pretty good job of it. And this game is super fun, super easy, and super hard to put down. Now, in this game, what kind of sets it apart from other beat-em-ups is you can actually choose your own character, and there's 3 to start. You have Rick Justice, kind of full of brutal punches. He's kind of the heavyweight guy in the class. Then you have Ashley King, which is the fast, kind of quick character. We got to have one of those. And of course, Nikki Rage, which is kind of, somewhere in the middle. She's fast, but she's also powerful. Now, this is a big plus of this game, is all 3 of these characters really do play different. I had a lot of fun mixing them up and really just seeing what their styles had to offer. And I was pretty impressed. Now, for fans of the beat-em-up genre, you know that the story of the game kind of takes a backseat to the action. So I'll quickly go over this part for you guys and just fill you in what the story is, because, yeah, there is one. So you guys play as 3 cops, and you guys are sent into this city that is overrun with these generic street thugs, and yes, emphasis on generic. One thing about this game that I will say is that the enemy variety is just not there. You have big enemies, you have small enemies. I mean, sure, there's weapons that you can pick up, but it just gets stale pretty fast. Even though the enemy varieties might be a little on the boring side, I have to admit that the level locations themselves were actually quite exciting. There's nothing like bashing a guy's brains in a bar stool and later riding on a tractor and running over people. You just never know with this game, and that's what I like about it. It keeps you on your toes. I really appreciated that. So let's get down to the basic controls. There is your classic punch, your classic kick, you can grab enemies, and there's also a dash that gets you out of tight spots. This dash can hit multiple enemies and can really save your skin at some points. Now that's about it, and that was kind of one of my faults with this game as well. There's no defense maneuver. There's no way to protect yourself in these giant hordes of enemies. And I wish you could protect yourself, because as you progress in this game, it only gets harder. More and more enemies will jump on the screen, and yeah, there's no blocking in sight. There's just punch, kick, and hope to survive. Now, in terms of game modes, there are a couple offered here. There's the main story mode, which, you fight enemies on the screen. You later advance to the right. There is a linear story to go with it. Nothing to write home about, but yeah, the gameplay's there. And there is another mode called Brawl Mode, which is basically a horde mode, where you and a friend, yes, it does support multiplayer, local only, unfortunately, but you and a friend can go through waves and waves of enemies, each wave increasing in difficulty. I think I made it to wave 8, which I'm pretty proud of myself. It does get really, really tough, and I think the key to this mode is the multiplayer mode. It's worth mentioning that you can also play multiplayer mode in the main story mode, so yeah, you can completely play this game with a friend, which I thought was really cool. No more quarters for me, just grab a Joy-Con. Something I can't ignore about this game, and obviously from looking at the footage, this game is really cool, and I really do like the art style. In a time where pixel games are kind of overrunning the eShop, it's nice to kind of see this retro take, and it's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of cartoon meets real life meets I don't even know, live action type stuff. It just reminds me of the 90s, man. It just reminds me of the good old days, you know, the arcade days, the hey mom, can I have a couple more quarters? I just lost a life days. And that's something that Raging Justice does well, you know. It's obviously playing on our nostalgia, but it does a very good job of doing it. It doesn't hold back the fact that, hey, you know, I'm trying to be a copy of something that I used to like as a kid, and I'm okay with that. I'm actually really okay with that. Overall, I'm awarding Raging Justice a 79. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, hey, Pat, that's kind of a low score. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It is. And in a time where games are more extensive and more expansive than ever, beat 'em ups have just kind of feel dated. But you got to admit, beating the crap out of waves and waves of enemies will always be cool.